Hello and welcome to the Galeblade News. Up to 1/5 of Brazil's soya exports to the European Union may be contaminated by illegal deforestation, a study has found. Researchers used freely available maps and data to identify the specific farms and ranchers clearing forests to produce soya and beef destined for Europe. They found 2% of the properties were responsible for 62% of illegal deforestation. These bad apples have global environmental consequences, they said. Professor Raoni Reijal of the Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais in Brazil said it was up to the country's political and economic leaders to root out the bad apples in the soy and beef sectors. Brazil has the information it needs to take swift and decisive action against these rule breakers to ensure that its exports are deforestation-free, he said. Reports from non-governmental organisations and journalistic investigations have previously revealed cases of soya and beef being produced in areas of deforestation and exported. But this is the first study to link property-level illegal deforestation with export data. The research published in the journal Science found that 2% of properties in the Amazon rainforests and the Cerrado grasslands are responsible for 62% of all potentially illegal deforestation. Roughly 20% of soya exports and at least 17% of beef exports to the EU may be contaminated with illegal deforestation, the researchers said. According to their analysis, 2 million tonnes of soya grown on properties with illegal deforestation may have reached EU markets annually during the period of analysis, 500,000 of which came from the Amazon. As the soya is fed mainly to livestock, customers can't be sure whether the meat they buy is deforestation-free. Duncan Brack of the Chatham House think tank said the study strengthened the argument for government measures to end UK consumers' contribution to deforestation, such as a due diligence or duty of care obligation on companies importing products such as beef or soya. A recent report found the majority of all soya, 65%, comes from countries with high deforestation rates. The land required overseas to meet the UK's annual demand for soya between 2016 and 2018 equated to an area approaching the size of Wales, according to environmental groups WWF and the RSPB. Without knowing it, we're eating meat and dairy products from animals fed on soy grown on deforested land in Brazil, said Mike Barrett, Executive Director of Science and Conservation at WWF UK. We need to stop importing habitat destruction. In 2019, an area of primary forest the size of a football pitch was lost every 6 seconds across the world, according to a study by the University of Maryland, US. Brazil accounted for a third of it, its worst loss in 13 years, apart from huge spikes in 2016 and 2017 from fires. So, what do you think of this? Personally, I am very concerned about how the environment is being treated. The Amazon is one of those very protected areas that needs to be kept protected. I know there have been quite a few issues between Bolsonaro, who is the current person in charge for Brazil, versus the rest of the world, whose argument is, okay, it might be in your country, it might be what you have, but actually it impacts the whole of the world, and actually the actions you're taking by ignoring this is making the situation worse. I do find it ironic that those who are, very hyper about just soya-based products, the vegans and the vegetarians, are shouting at everyone else about the, how climate change is happening, but actually they're complicit into how this deforestation happens because they don't actually check where their soya-based products are coming from. I would say the same of beef eaters because, we're just probably as bad, but we don't tend to preach about it, unlike many of the vegans and vegetarians. Whatever you think, leave your comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.